action.
Well, we are here in the garage. We have a wiener dog, as you may have heard him.
Good work, Jim.
We've got Bill, we've got Elana, and we got my friend Ed. Say hi, Ed.
Hello, Ed.
Very important. So we're going to degree the camshaft on this 440. It's a Super Commando 1968. The short block is together. I've already put the chain on. We're just going to go through some steps of how to do that. We're putting it in straight up to start with. You can see the dot to dot is the preliminary alignment. I added a indicator here, just a piece of wire for the degree wheel. I've got a tool from Cams that you can mount a degree wheel to. I would recommend you spend the money and buy something like this, because it's very hard to turn these engines over from the back with just flywheel bolts, because you don't want to mess up the degree wheel setting. So put the piston at the top. Make your life easy.
Does it matter which piston you use, Tom?
Number one is the piston of choice in this case. So what I like to do is I put the degree wheel on and I ballpark it. TDC is lined up with our pointer. Then I rotate the crankshaft around and lowers the piston. We're going to use a positive stop method. This is just a little bracket I made. So you bolt this on. And by hand, you're going to turn the engine over until it contacts the stop. One direction, then the other. Then you're going to look at the degree wheel and divide those numbers by 2. That sounds incredibly complicated, but this is actually quite easy. So just snug it down. And gently turn the engine over till the piston contacts. Look at your degree wheel and take a reading. From TDC, we're at about 39.5. Can you see that? Elana, can you see that?
I think you should show them that a little bit closer.
How about that?
Lean in, tilt up.
39.5.
There you go. I can see it.
This is expert movie magic right here. So then we rotate the engine around the other way, bring the piston back up until it contacts the stop. Look at the degree wheel again from TDC. And you see we're at 39.
That's the part that I think is the hardest. Remembering to do it from TDC.
Well, the thing is, you want to get the same distance on either side of TDC. Do you see that? Same distance on either side. So we were 39.5 last time. So this needs to be 39.25, roughly. I mean, we're splitting hairs here. It's basically close enough. So you go back and forth doing this until you get the same number every time. So up against the stop, take a look at it. We're at 39. Back down again. $39, just a tad over, so we'll bend the pointer towards 39. Check it one more time. There we go. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? All right, we're going to take our positive stop off, and this ensures that our degree wheel is perfectly adjusted in relationship to the piston at top dead center. And Elana is like Vanna White. She's going to take the tools away from me. So now when you line it up at TDC, the piston is at TDC. Next step, you need a solid lifter. This is a flat tappet cam. You want a solid lifter because the hydraulic is a hydraulic and it's not solid. So you need something that's going to be repeatable. You can take the guts out of a hydraulic lifter and make it solid for this test. Actually, I would call this a measurement, really, not really a test. So set up a dial indicator here.
It's a pretty fancy measurement push rod you've got there, Tom.
Yeah, I recommend the ones with the nice end on, like the Chevy style, with the end a hole on each end. They fit good and they say stay up there. So we're going to turn this over and we're going to go to the point of maximum lift. Maximum cam lift. You see the indicator moving? in a direction of rotation. You keep going till you get to the point of maximum lift, which was right about there. So we'll back it up, come up to maximum lift again. Only slightly off. So we got max lift right there in the 0. What I like to do is I back the engine up opposite the direction of rotation, about that far, maybe 100 thou, and then come back till the needle says 50 thou. And we are 50 before the peak of the lobe, before the max lift. Go over to our degree wheel, you read from TDC, we've got 65, 66, 67, 68. Elana, write down 68. That's our first number. And we continue turning the engine in a direction of rotation till we get back to maximum lift and then back down to 50. And then read the degree wheel again. Also from TDC, you have to remember you're always reading from TDC. And in this case we got 150, 151, 152, 153. So 153. So we're going to add 68 plus 153. We're going to divide that by 2. And that gives us our intake installed center line of 110.5. Which on this camshaft, 110.5 is pretty good. It's ground on 114 out lobe separation angle. He's advising that we install it at about 111 for the gearing we have. So we're good to go as is, even though the timing marks are dot to dot, it's a little bit advanced out of the gate. Yeah, so that's basically it. That's the degree in a camshaft, probably the simplest method that I can think of. What do you think, Ed? Is that good enough?
I think it's good.
All right.
Call it done.
All right, we're gonna call that one done.
I think we should go over a couple of the details and explain them in greater detail for folks like me.
All right.
For example,
Mm-hmm.
let's say somebody hasn't used a dial indicator before. What was it exactly that was giving you the, what was it exactly that was showing you that we had hit the number we were looking for and we were at the top? What were you seeing on the needle?
Well, when I was going for, what she's talking about is going up to maximum lift. So what I was doing, if we go back to the heel here, 0. So we're gonna watch the cam. The cam is coming up on the ramp here. You see the lobe? So it's pushing the lifter up. So you watch the needle go, and it's going up. And you go to the point where it stops rising, which is right there. So we're at the very peak of the lobe right there, right in the center.
And the way I would describe it is that it goes backwards. If you keep pulling that way, the needle goes the other direction.
Yes. Well, you know you're at the very top because if you keep going that direction, the needle then falls because you're on the other side of the lobe.
And that's what we're looking at, right?
Yep. We're looking at the very top of the lobe right there.
So when you're at your 50s, you're kind of here and here.
Yes.
And that's where you're taking that
Yep.
measurement.
Yep. And then you split the difference, and that gives you the exact center line of that lobe, the intake lobe. It has to be done on the intake lobe. And you're just correcting the phasing of the camshaft with the crankshaft because the people that made the timing chain are not the same people that made the camshaft, and they're not the same people that made the crankshaft. So all these locations, like the pin location there and the keyway in the crank, you don't know how accurate they are. So you always got to check it. And this is why you degree a camshaft.
And then the other little demo that I wanted us to do was explaining why there's any sort of slop in finding top dead center. Like, why is it not just one spot is top dead center?
Well, if you just eyeball putting the piston at the top, like I just did right there, the piston's at the absolute top, and by eyeball, I was off 1.5 degrees, which is far outside my normal range. But that's a joke, of course. But you can see you could actually move the degree wheel a certain amount of degrees with the piston still at the top, because when the piston is at top dead center, it dwells up here. It goes up and there's a certain amount of rotational degrees before it comes back down. Like if you look at like this is on its way up to TDC, this crank pin, you can see that when it actually gets to top, you can move it a certain amount of degrees and the piston does not go down. It stays at the top, so that's piston dwell. And then before the piston starts coming back down. So you're just trying to get an exact figure of that.
Or if you need me to translate it into extreme sports, consider it hang time.
I guess that is the point where you would do all the tricks on your motorcycle.
What other details do you think you need? I mean, those.
Well, there's far more details to this. That is like the simplest method to get you in the exact ballpark of having it right.
Should we discuss this clearancing on the oil filter here?
Well, that was done purposely to clear that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's it. It's just a short little video on degreeing the camshaft.
What happens if you don't degree the camshaft?
You could luck in that everything is perfect and you're happily motoring. Or you could have an engine that doesn't run right. It'll run low power or too much power at, like, say, the bottom end. It's an important detail to ensure that you have the cam in the right relationship with the crankshaft. You can't set anything else unless you've got this right. Yeah, that's it.
All right, go do it.
Yep, 5-minute job.